Good morning, Chem 1010 students. We are at the beginning of week 13. There are 14 weeks in this semester and then the finals week. So we're almost through. You're reading this message by clicking a link right here that doesn't exist yet because I'm still recording. Here you'll see the news for week 13, which is where we are. And that link will take you, go to the content, it will take you here to the weekly updates. At the top of the weekly updates, I did this a while back. I did put the schedule. I like seeing it in this format, and so I put it there to make it handy. And so as I scroll down, we're on week 13. And as you can see, we have no due dates this week, but we do have Chapter 7 due on Monday. So you're working on Chapter 7 this week. I would like to remind you last week you finished up Chapter 6 and 2 experiments and a reflection paper. Remember that the experiments and the reflection paper I do accept late for a point penalty up to a week late. So if for any reason you didn't get those done, you can continue to work on them and submit them by the end of this week. I do take some points off. I am almost caught up with grading through last week. If you turned in the previous week's assignment late, I haven't graded those yet. If you turn them in on time, I've graded everything but the reflection paper. So I've got a couple of reflection papers and a couple of experiments to catch up on. I hope to catch up on those this week. This is a great week to not only work on Chapter 7, which is due Monday, and Experiment 11, which is due next Tuesday, and Reflections Paper 7, which is due next, I said Tuesday, Wednesday. How about to Wednesday? But it's also a great time to start pulling your information together for your final and to start reviewing for your final exam. Next week, 7 is due, Chapter 7 is due, one last reflection paper, one last experiment, and the third chapter exam over Chapter 6 and 7. So you're starting to collect information and study for Chapter 6 and 7, but you should also spend some time this week going back and reviewing for the final exam. Pull back out the notes that you used during the exam, the sheet of notes that you used. Go back to any old quizzes and homework assignments and look them over. Focus on the quizzes and homework assignments that you took. You should be able to see all of those at this point, except for the ones that are coming up. And post if you have any questions. Copy and paste and post on the discussion board if you have any questions. Let me go ahead and go here. So we're in Chapter 7. You're starting to work on this material, very familiar format. There's a content that lists each of the sections with additional links and some information. There's a submodule for your Chapter 7 homework and quiz, so you can start working on those this week. There's a folder for your Chapter 7 experiment. It is a simulation online, so there are no materials that you have to buy for it. There's a reflection paper. This is your last reflection paper that is due for Chapter 7. Look ahead to your third exam, which is not this week, but next week. This is only accepted one day late, and you're only supposed to be taking these late if you haven't taken one late before. So watch your due dates. Watch your due dates, and there are penalties for taking it late. The reason why you get such a limited time to take this one late is because the final opens up. And here is your final exam. You cannot take the final exam late, so put that date on your calendar. Set aside some time now between April 29th and May 1st to sit down and take it. You have 210 minutes for this, a little over 2 hours. Is that 3 hours? 6 times 3 is a little over 3 hours to take it. There are 100 questions. It's long. And so set aside the time to take this now so that you don't end up taking this one late. Look down here at the due dates to take this one. You cannot take this one late. If you miss it, it's a 0. If something comes up, you do want to get in touch with me, but you cannot take this one late. So start thinking about when you're going to take this and setting aside that time. So back to what we're doing here. You're working on chapter 7. Go ahead and get these done, the homeworks, the experiment, and the reflection paper as soon as you can, although nothing is due until next week, but early next week. Take a look at your grade book as we are wrapping up this semester. Go into your grade book. Mine's pretty sparse. All right, I've missed a lot of work, but you should not have missed a lot of work. So scan these grades and make sure they look right. If something looks out of place, give me a holler. I'm happy to look back at an assignment for you and see what's going on. If I left you comments for any of these assessments, you see them here in the Dropbox area. Especially, you're going to see those. If it's a quiz, something that you took on the quiz tool, we did all of our experiments here. You may have to go back and look at this attempt. So on this quiz page, these are all your old lab experiments. So if you see a grade that looks a little weird, come back here and use this drop down to view your submissions. I don't have any submissions again. It looks like I've got one in progress, but you should be able to go back and view submissions at this point so that you can see what you missed. And if you have any questions, please go ahead and ask me. So again, we're on week 13. We're in chapter 7. You're working on it to be finished on Monday for your quizzes and homework. Go ahead and start taking a look at your reflection paper assignment and your experiment that are here. Start looking ahead at your 3rd chapter exam because that is next week, and this is a great opportunity to start reviewing for your final exam. Please give me a holler if you have any questions.